What the fuck is up, my little cats and kittens, and welcome back to the OVER Sharra Podcast. I'll be doing what I do best, oversharing perspectives, life stories, just things that might make some people a little bit uncomfortable. But after all, on the OVER Sharra Podcast, oversharing is caring. So let's get into it. Okay, we are back after a pretty lengthy hiatus there, it feels like. I was getting into a pretty good groove there for a second, but if you're watching this, because yes, we are back in action and up in video, okay? So if you're listening to this, you can watch the episode on YouTube. The YouTube handle or the YouTube channel is the OVER Sharra Podcast. So pretty easy if you're wondering how to spell that. My name is spelled SHARRA. So you can find that on YouTube if you want to watch. If not, keep listening. Either way. But yeah, if you are watching, you might notice a couple of things. One, I have a new mic. Say hello. She's fun and fancy. We're going to call her Samantha because it's a Samson. Get it, Samantha? Anyways, Sam. Sam is good. We're glad we have Sam. And I also got a new computer. I invested in a MacBook Pro. So I am moving on up in the world, y'all. I am getting the equipment that I need to really start doing this kind of stuff. I also just needed a new computer anyways because my last one crashed. And I need a computer for my new job. And so, just making it all happen in one fell swoop. So yeah, new mic, new computer. And you're probably wondering, if you are watching this, Sharra, why the fuck are you wearing those giant hats? Well, because I'm feeling very festive. I'm going to Costa Rica in exactly 1 month, and I'm very excited about that. I've actually never really been out of the country except for when I went backpacking to Canada. So I'm excited to go on a little vacation, do a little exploring, and enjoying the pool and the beach and the jungle. And so yeah, I've got my little Panama Jack hat on. I got this whenever I was traveling last summer, actually, whenever I went to California for my little 2-week trip that I did out there, my solo trip. And I got this along the way as I was traveling in California to Death Valley. I was like, you know what? I need something that's going to block the sun. It is hot as fuck here. It's the middle of the desert. There is no shade anywhere. So I bought this fun little hat at a little gas station it kind of reminded me of New Orleans a bit, because this gas station that I went to was also like a restaurant, and they served alcohol, like very New Orleans vibes, where like people go there for the food. So I was like, oh, well, I need like a fun little hat to commemorate this moment, since you can't take the food with you. It's gone once you poop. So this episode is going to be a bit of an update episode, again, since we've been on a little bit of a hiatus from one another, but I am very happy to be back, and hopefully now a little bit more regular, especially since I have some exciting new updates, which is one, that I am having a change of jobs. I recently left my job that I've been at for nearly a decade last Wednesday, and a lot of people have sent messages or sent people that I know messages asking, Sharra, are you okay? Is everything okay? What's going on? Because I posted a video last Wednesday of me on my Instagram story that I was a little drunk and had gone out celebrating with some people from work after my last day. And I let the people know that I walked out of work, and I'm going to tell you why I did that. For real though, this is kind of making my head itch, so I think we're just going to lay it on back. Okay, so here is the reason why I walked out of work last Wednesday, if you've been wondering. Yes, I am okay. In fact, I would arguably say, the best I've been in quite some time. I am feeling lighter, I'm feeling better, and I 0% regret the decision I made to walk out of work, even though that's typically really against who I am as a person and how I show up in the professional world. Like I've never really done that before, and so yeah, I'm great. Things are great. Big picture is that I already had my notice in at this job. I've been at this job for a really long time. I would be lying if I said that there hasn't been a part of me that's been wanting out of corporate retail for a while. I've been in it since really I have been here, and other than, being in service industry and things like that, like it's really the only thing that I've done, and I want something different. I've been in it a long time. There's just things about the schedule that I don't really love anymore. There's just things about corporate in general, like whenever it's getting a little bit bigger, it just changes, and there's just not the life that I want for myself, and so I was already considering wanting to leave anyways. However, what really started pushing me, especially here these last couple of years, is I just felt like nobody was listening to me. I was being treated really, really poorly at work, and just in a way that nobody should have to endure in a professional setting. Like the amount of, and I'm not afraid to use these words now, the amount of harassment and retaliation that I was experiencing on a pretty frequent, if not like weekly basis, and it just being completely dismissed is beyond me. And I will again tell that story here shortly. But the reason that I walked out of work last week was because I was yelled at and ignored at work by my boss for the last time. I don't deserve to be treated that way. I had already turned in my 3-week notice because I got another job. I'm going to be managing 2 gyms here. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited to shift into something different, a different challenge, a little bit more autonomy, a better schedule. Just there's a lot of things that are supporting the direction that I'm wanting my life to move in anyways. I just want more freedom and autonomy, and the ability to make decisions. And again, just like a different new challenge. And so I had already turned in my 3-week. And I was just sitting there last Wednesday at this meeting where we were being talked down to, talked over, voices were being raised at us. And it's just like, no one should ever have to ask their boss to lower their voice at you. Like that just should never have to be something that comes out of your mouth. And if it ever is, you should never have to say that twice. And I have on record multiple occasions where I have responded to like a recap of a conversation that I've had, where I was like, I had to ask my boss multiple times to lower their voice at me, and it was like completely dismissed and denied and all this. And I'm just like, okay, well, at least this happened where it wasn't just one-on-one and other people could experience this. And so, yeah, so we were just being yelled at. And then afterwards, I was ignored for the entire day. And the only way that any sort of communication was had with me, even though that this person sat literally 2 feet away from me in the office, was Teams messages. So I was like, you know what am I doing this for? Like I was doing this, there was some benefit to me, sure, but like for the most part, it was the benefit of the team and just like the benefit of the career that I've had with this company of being like, I want to do the right thing. I'm going to work through the end of the month, blah, blah, blah. But then I was just sitting there. I was like, I don't need to work for the next week and a half. Like I will be fine not getting paid for that week and a half. Like I don't need to be here. My benefits are going to go through the end of the month. And like, I've already got new benefits set up. Like there is nothing about this that is benefiting me anymore. So I worked for most of the day, and then at the end, I just, I spent the day kind of tying up loose ends for myself and cleaning out my cubby and cleaning off my computer and doing all of the things that I needed to do to leave and walk out as respectfully as possible. So I worked for most of the day, and then I walked out one by one, or I walked up to each person one by one that was working that day and just let them know, like, hey, I'm not coming back. And everybody was minus 2 people were like, dude, I totally get it. Like kudos to you. Like you deserve so much more. And so, yeah, I walked my happy little ass out and went and had drinks with a girlfriend that turned into having drinks with like a big group of people. And then I had the worst hangover of, not the worst hangover. I've definitely had worse hangovers, but a top hangover. I mean, that was definitely like top 5 hangovers that I've had. But you know what? It was in most ways worth it. I really enjoyed getting to hang out with people, and it just felt so validating to have so many supporting me and so many people who were just like, yeah, no, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the way that you left, even though like you've been with this company for so long, because it was just like, I felt so dismissed on so many levels. Even now, in being out of it and kind of thinking back on how everything transpired over the course of the last, definitely within the last year, but even more so than that. Like, this has been an issue for years. It's been a documented and reported issue for years. And I think now that I'm on the other side of it, there's just this part of me that's like, dude, this is like so fucked up that like me and my boss did not get along. Like that is what it is. We did not get along, but I don't have a history of not getting along with people that I work with. Like, she was just very unkind. Like, here's an example of what I experienced at work. So not long ago, actually, I had been on PTO for 11 days. I was out of the business for 11 days. So I get back to work and again, have been absent for 11 days. Walk in, the door is closed to the office. So it's not that you can't notice that I walked in and you just happen to not notice. I had to open the door, to which this person scooted over. They never took out their AirPods. They never looked up to acknowledge me. Like, they weren't on a call. Like, literally just blatantly didn't acknowledge my existence when I walked into the office. Didn't say hello. Like, I said hello, but they didn't know because, again, can't be bothered to take their AirPods out. And then I sit down in my chair and I get a Teams message. Now, let me tell you, like, if you can't see me, it is arm's length distance. Like, I could turn around in my swivel chair and we could boop fingers if we both turned around at the same time. That's how closely we are in this office. And you can't say hello or acknowledge my existence after I've been out of the business. Like, I mean, I guess if like we see each other I don't expect every time I walk into a room you to acknowledge me, but like, dude, I've been out for like a week and a half and you don't even have the, like, I don't know, I guess the kindness, I don't even know what word you would use for it, but like, you can't acknowledge me as a person. Like, I'm the closest person who works with you and you can't acknowledge me, but then you send me a Teams message. Like, that is the kind of shit that I was having to deal with at work. And then anytime that I would speak up or give any sort of feedback or anything like that, I was labeled as defiant. I was labeled as disrespectful. Their voice would get raised at me. They would talk down to me. They would make backhanded comments to me. And then, like, if I spoke up or anything like that, it was essentially retaliation in the way that they would then treat me at work, like literal blatant ignoring me, not acknowledging me at work, and then like sending me Teams and email, like just... I can't even put it all into words of like how this showed up at work. And it's just, I think it is absolutely ridiculous that like, yes, we don't have a good relationship, but I feel now as though like nobody was listening to the fact that like this person was creating such a horrible working environment. And not just for me, luckily other people are starting to speak up, but like not just for me, but because it was me. And like, we just had a perceived bad relationship that like my experience didn't matter. My experience was brushed off and it was just, she said, and I'm like, cool. My manager is yelling at me. Like, what does that, like, this is a bad environment. Like, and just so many different things of just a very hypocritical leadership of like a very do as I say, not as I do. Like they are the first person to like come at you about something and be like, don't do this, or, you know, we got to start the meeting on time. And then they don't do the thing that they literally just scolded you for, or they show up late to every fucking meeting, or every fucking meeting runs over. And then they have the audacity to say, hey, so this is a real life experience. So I have Crohn's disease. I have Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. My ulcerative colitis is actually worse than my Crohn's disease, which presents a whole different slew of symptoms. But when I'm in a flare up, my biggest symptom is urgency. Like when I have to go, I have to go. And I have to be very open about this because in a work setting, I have to let people know like, hey, if I need to step off the floor to go to the restroom, like I'm going, or like I may need more bathroom breaks, or like all of these things, you know, like I have special accommodations because I quite literally have a disability. So I've been very open and very vulnerable about how this impacts me, how this disease impacts my life, my well-being, my day-to-day, everything. So there was a day where we had a meeting starting at 8:30, and at 8:29, I was like, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. So I go to the bathroom because I have to take a shit, and again, can't control it. I have the urge to go right then. And so I go, I am back in the office by 8:35, and they have the audacity to go, hey, so since we only have 30 minutes for these meetings, we really need to be mindful of these things starting on time. So I had to look at them and be like, I had to poop. Like, I'm going through a flare up. I've been very open about this. Like, this isn't like I just planned to be 5 minutes late to this meeting. And like, also, let me remind you that the meeting we had on Monday started 13 minutes late, and the one before that started 52. 5-2, almost a whole hour, because my time is so much less important than your time. They definitely made this very clear to me that like their time is the time that truly matters. So like I'm getting fucking berated over here for literally having a Crohn's and UC flare up and having to go take a shit, and I'm 5 minutes late to the meeting because my stomach is upset. It's 8:30 in the morning and my symptoms are typically worse late at night and first thing in the morning. So I'm getting berated about this. Meanwhile, they can't show up on time to a fucking meeting or in a meeting on time to save their fucking life. So it's like shit like that where it's like, dude, you are micromanaging. Like, you don't like people, I don't think, because like you don't acknowledge human beings whenever they walk into a room. You have very, very clear bias. Everybody here knows who you don't like, and everybody here knows you don't like me, and it shows up in the way you treat me. And quite frankly, just being on the other side of it, it's just like, I just think it's ridiculous that it was just chalked up to, oh, well, she and Shara just, they have a bad relationship. No, I'm being harassed and retaliated against at work, and somebody needs to fucking pay attention, because I'm sure that this isn't only happening at this location. I'm sure that it goes on at other locations. And because this person and this other person have perceived like grievances with one another, that their experience doesn't matter. Like, it's just ridiculous. Anyways, on the bright side of things, because of the way I left and the ruckus that I caused on the way out, not actually, I didn't cause a ruckus, but I sent some pretty strong emails to some pretty high up people. And I do know that there were other people within the location that reported a similar experience to me. So finally other people are speaking up, and they're finally starting to like do an inkling of investigating or like looking into that. Like, I am so glad that I went out the way that I did, because I don't think that it would have prompted as hasty of a look at what's going on. And I genuinely believe, and this is even like ties into why I'm being more present on social media, why I wanted to start this podcast, why I'm putting myself out there, is like, I just believe that, you know, I can be somebody, if I can be somebody who can impact change or impact conversation, like with this, where it's like, yeah, I'm not afraid to be honest about things that like a lot of people would be like super cringed to like post or open up about. Like, I'm not afraid to share it, because I think that honesty and vulnerability creates like community and connection and conversation, and I'm here for that. So if me leaving in the way that I did and the experience that I had, if that can elicit some actual real organizational change, it was worth it. Like, it was totally worth it. And for the most part, I can look back on my experience and say I had a mostly positive experience, but the last 2 years were fucking hell. I 100% believe that the toxic environment and the treatment that I was receiving at work, like literally my central nervous system would be out of control just opening my email inbox and opening my Teams because of how this person communicated and treated me, or just like, and not just me, like other people, just the way they went about leadership. Like, I shouldn't have to feel that way at work. And I truly, truly believe that all of the issues and complications that I've had within my flare-ups and all of the things that I've been experiencing medically since I was officially diagnosed in late, 2023, and early 2024, that is why I haven't been able to find true remission. I do believe that situation, coupled with some other stressors, is what put me into a flare-up. So I'm excited to be free of that. Oh God, it just even reminds me, like, I don't think I will ever, ever, ever be able to let this go. And that is something that I have judged myself for a long time, but I've just accepted about myself. I am a person who, I do hold a little bit of a grudge. Like, I am working on the art of forgiveness, because forgiveness really is for you, right? Like, it is for the other person to some degree, but mostly it's for you. When you hold on to grudges and you hold on to anger and you hold on to those things, the only person that you're really putting like it's detrimental to is you, because nobody else is walking around feeling that. You're the only person walking around feeling that. So I really do. It's a work in progress, okay? But there are just certain things that I can't fucking let go. And this is one experience that I cannot fucking let go. So when I say that like a lot of this kind of escalated whenever I got sick was because there was a day that I was literally in the fucking hospital, like in my hospital bed, in the ICU, like super fucking sick. And I get a text message from my boss at the time letting me know that they were going to be performance managing me, aka like giving me an unofficial right, like it goes into your development log so that they can at the end of the year see all the things that you've done right and wrong, when this person only likes to acknowledge all the things that you do wrong. And so they let me know that they were going to be performance managing me for failing to forward a receipt for taking over getting all of the food for the staff for Black Friday, because the person who was originally in charge of it came down with the flu. So I took it on last minute, and then I got fucking sick. And so I had to go to the hospital. And so I just didn't upload a receipt or forward the receipt before I was ill and uncontrollably ill in the hospital. And so they were letting me know that they were going to be logging me for not forwarding a receipt. And then they also chastised me for logging or inputting 1 hour of time on Thanksgiving Day. So I got in trouble for helping because I had to work on Thanksgiving Day because, again, I was trying to help and take over food that wasn't originally my assignment or my responsibility. So I was helping because somebody else got sick. So I took on this additional task and didn't have the time to do anything for the food other than on Thanksgiving Day, because I literally worked until 1 a.m. the night before Thanksgiving and then had lunch with my friends on Thanksgiving and had to be back on Black Friday at 6 o'clock in the morning. So when else am I going to do it? So yeah, I logged an hour of time for cutting the fucking fruit for our team of 55 people. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to apologize for that. And I think it's pretty ridiculous that this person is reaching out to me while I'm fucking sick in the hospital, never says, hey, I hope you're feeling okay. Hey, how's it going? Nothing. Just I'm performance logging you, only for me to return to work to realize that multiple people, herself included, had failed to send me receipts whenever I took over doing the budget. And it's like, cool, so why am I getting performance managed for this again? This is what I mean, where it's like, it's just stupid shit like this, where it's like, you shouldn't even be reaching out to me when I'm on leave. I'm in the hospital and like, you're a CUNT. So again, no regrets. I'm so glad, and I just feel so much more free. I'm really excited about the opportunity that's in front of me. I'm excited that it's going to allow me a bit more freedom to do things creatively like this. Like when you work in such like a corporate controlled environment, there are a lot of rules and regulations that you have to follow, not just inside of work, but outside of work. So there's a lot of social media policies and things like that. So just being mindful of, what you're posting and if it's going to violate any of the guidelines or anything like that. So just not having any of those worries. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to like get on here and like offend people or anything, but some of the stuff I talk about is not necessarily what my employees in a corporation like that are going to be like, I don't know, appropriate, I guess, if I have like subordinates and things. And so I just feel like I'm going to have so much more autonomy and freedom and just an ability to be more creative in my life. And I'm super, super, super excited about it. I just think that getting back into the fitness industry is something that I'm super familiar with. It's something that I enjoy a lot. And just the people of the two gyms, I know them very well, and they're really, really good people. And I'm going to have just a lot of trust. And that feels really, really good to be able to create some new systems and efficient processes. And again, just develop different relationships. It's just time. It's time for me to be moving in a different direction in my life. And, I really want to take on content creation like on a bigger platform. I'm really trying to, learn and grow and understand this world of content creation. I think it's super fascinating. And I've been kind of, ruminating over these different things and what I see for myself, or like where I want this to go. And I feel like I have just, conversations with myself in my mind. I'm like, I have 9 conversations in my brain before 12 p.m. I just talk to myself. It's like, I don't need a co-host, right? I'm not ever going to have a co-host. I will have guests. That is the goal of this podcast, is that I'm going to have guests. Hopefully very, very soon. There are some potentially exciting things on the horizon for me in the world of content creation. But again, I'm not getting my hopes up too much. I still need to do my research and feel things out. But it feels like things are moving in the right direction, and there could potentially be some exciting things. But I am going to have a guest on the pod in the very, very near future. So I'm just kind of working on what I want that to look like and who I want it to be. I've got a couple of people in mind. I'm definitely going to have some people from just like my personal life on the pod, because I think that's really fun to just kind of, be able to ask questions, the people that you are the closest with or who may know you the most, to get their perspectives on things. So yeah, so that is the direction of the pod that I do intend for it to go. But for now, you're going to get to know me a little bit more. But yeah, I think it's just been a super fascinating and fun thing to do, and I'm not going anywhere. Like, I think something that I've been ruminating, and that's where I was going with that. I'm so fucking ADD. But something I've been ruminating on about is, I've always, like, why now? Like, if somebody were to ask me the question of like, Sharra, somebody actually did ask me this the other day of like, is it ever scary to like put yourself out there? Like, somebody was telling me like, you've inspired me to start doing things more alone, and like that can be really scary to put yourself out there. And we kind of just got into the conversation around like how that can show up online. And I think something that I've been thinking about and, thinking on answering that question is that I don't think I would have been ready for putting myself out there in this degree or this regard until I've reached this point in my life where I've had the time where I've really come into my own, and I've really come into knowing who I am. And while, I'm still a human being and I still have my own issues and insecurities and things, that I'm not like a completely healed person. Like I'm still a human being. But I think that I'm just in this really different headspace now of like, look, putting yourself out there on the internet is scary. And for people who are in your life and they're not used to that, it can feel cringy, right? Whether they feel cringy about it or you feel cringy about it, like it's just different, right? It's like them getting to know you or to interact with you in a really different way. And alongside that, of like having to get over that, the internet is it can be a really great place, and it can be a really mean place. And I think that something you have to understand if you want to step into this kind of light, no matter how big or small, is like there's always going to be haters out there, and you have to decide that like you're bigger than that, and like that just comes along with it, and that you are also in the driver's seat. Like that is something that I've really been thinking about. Like, look, like right now, like I'm very small. I just hit a little over 1,000 followers on TikTok, which I'm still going to celebrate, because again, I started with 0 just a couple months ago. So that feels pretty cool. But like, as I hopefully want this to grow into, as I grow and people start following, like that is only going to come with more and more hate and more people who, I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, just sit behind their computer and are just trolls. Like they're just miserable humans who have literally nothing else better to do than to be mean and hateful to strangers on the internet. And I know that comes with this territory. And so I'm prepared for it. And I don't think that I would have been in that position 5-6 years ago. I think that I needed to have this very long stint of being by myself and learning myself alone and doing things alone, because when you can get comfortable with literally doing anything alone, that is a superpower, and I will stand by that statement till I'm blue in the face and dead in the ground. If you can do it, like when you master the art of being able to do anything alone, where you're like, I'm not going to miss out on life just because I don't have somebody to do it with, you have a superpower. And I possess that superpower, but I worked towards that superpower. It didn't just come naturally. It's always uncomfortable when you start doing something for the first time, right? Especially if you're doing it alone, or when it's like, socially seen as something that you typically don't do alone, like going to a concert, like that can be really scary to do at first. So if you're somebody who is, interested in starting to branch out a little bit more and to go out alone, because the other day I went on Monday to this, on Memorial Day, to this pool here, it's like a restaurant bar / they have a pool in the backyard. It was great. It's called the Lost Coyote if you are a New Orleans resident, or if you're going to be coming to New Orleans and want a nice little spot to go. It's off of Esplanade. Fabulous time. It was $20. It gets you a pour of champagne and then a towel, and the pool. It was packed on Memorial Day, but for the most part, what I've seen in like their stories and stuff, it looks like a very enjoyable, like low key place to go. But again, it was super, super fun. I really enjoyed it. But I went alone. Like I was like, okay, some of my friends are at the beach, some of my friends aren't doing anything, and some of my friends have to work today. So like, I want to do something. It's nice outside. So I was like, cool, I still want to get outside. So I'm going to go check out this place. And I went by myself. And so I got there, and a few minutes into me being there, this lady happened to be leaving. She's like, oh, I'm going to be leaving if you want my chair. So got that chair. Great. Also, it's wonderful whenever you go places alone, because you take up such less space that people, like, it just tends to work in your favor a bit. Like, this is a great example. I showed up to the Lost Coyote. They were actually at capacity. Like, the person in front of me was capacity, and they were like, okay, like, we'll let you in. Cause I'm like, well, I'm like really small. I'm like half a human and I'm by myself. And so they ended up letting me in. And so it's like, I've just experienced that, like whenever I go places alone, like I can get a great seat at the bar because I don't need 2 seats. I don't need 3 seats. I can get a great space at the concert because I'm just by myself, and I can I can weave in and out of the crowd, and I'm not going to be in anybody's way. Again, I'm a small person, but again, I'm one human. So like if I want to get up close, I can make my way up close by myself. And if I want to hang back, I can hang back. I'm not impeding on anybody's vibe that I'm with, and nobody that is with me is impeding on my vibes. But again, I taught myself how to do that. So, but what I was saying is I showed up, and then I got a chair, and then I ended up running into a friend of mine that I used to work with, and then another group of friends that I know, they were also there. So I, said hey to them. And then I ended up making 2 new girlfriends who are in their late 30s. They're child free. And so we're like, cool, let's meet up for drinks on Friday. So I'm going to meet up with these girls. And it all started because I had a book laying on my chair, and this girl, when I walked over, was like, oh, like, is this good? I've heard about it, blah, blah. So like, you can make friends, and it's just like this lesson, and like, don't miss out on life just because you don't have people to do it with. Especially like, I think that can be a big wake up call for people who like just graduate college, or, or maybe on their own for the first time, or just as you start getting older and people's lives start going in different directions. I'm in my late 30s. So like, people are married or getting married or have kids or are having kids. And I'm kind of the odd man out because I'm I don't want kids, single-ish person in their life. So it's like, I have to fit in or find other groups or do things on my own. And so I've taught myself. So my suggestion is, there is nothing I would promote more than learning to do things and learning to do things on your own and learning to be alone. I just think that it sets you up for such success in so many other ways. Like, I think it sets you up for success in relationships, to have like a really healthy relationship, because had I not experienced this time of like being alone and doing, like, I've been single, like, it's not that I haven't, dated people here and there, but like, I have been single for the last like 7 years. So like, I've just had the time to like, and again, I've dated people, but it's also put me in a position to be like, cool, well, I'm okay with doing things alone. So I don't need to settle for a person or for a relationship that doesn't fit what I need or want in my life, that's going to bring me peace and happiness, or that fits my values. Like, if me and somebody aren't aligned on kids and marriage, like, I don't need to change how I feel or my views because I'm scared of like not having a partner. Like, or if something happens in a relationship that like violates a boundary of mine, and I feel like I'm not being respected, or my boundaries aren't being respected in a relationship, or they're not showing up for me the way that I need to be shown up for in a relationship, because I'm so comfortable with being alone and doing things alone, I don't feel trapped in anything. And I think that that is beautiful. And like, I want to just praise that and like preach that from the hilltops of like, this will make you'll make better decisions. I truly believe that. And I think that your life will move in a direction that serves what you enjoy, and like your hobbies and things. And again, like if you want advice on that, like absolutely, I'm here to give it. I think my biggest piece of advice on learning to do things alone, or if you're like, I want to start branching out to do things, start with small. Okay. Don't choose the thing that's going to be like the most jarring and terrifying. Like, don't go to a concert by yourself if you don't ever go do things by yourself. I'm going to say, like, let's start small. Let's start with going out to dinner by yourself, because that can be really awkward for a lot of people. And here's my biggest piece of advice. Whenever you go out to dinner by yourself, sit at the bar. And the reason I say that is because at the bar, it gives you the opportunity to be social or not at all. Like, you have the option. It gives you the ability to kind of use others as a way to make you feel comfortable. Like, you can listen kind of other conversations, so it kind of keeps your mind occupied. The bartender can socialize with you. Like, there have been so many times where I've sat at the bar where I've made conversation with the person next to me, not necessarily like we're exchanging numbers and becoming friends, but like we've had conversation, we'd have intellectual conversation, or we're like shooting the shit with the bartender back and forth, telling jokes, like whatever it is, they're buying me drinks. Like it can allow for you to have social interaction if that's what you're searching for. But if it's not, you can also give off the vibe that like you're just not interested, and that's totally fine. And I think that it's fine. I would say don't rely solely on your phone as the thing that's going to make you comfortable. It's okay to pull it out here and there, because it's kind of a little bit of a crutch, right? Like it's that mediator of like awkwardness and filling the social space of what am I supposed to do with my hands and my eyes when I'm here alone and nobody to talk to? So your phone. But I just really challenge you to like look around, and like, yeah, people may be like, what is this bitch looking around doing? Like, so what? You're taking it all in. You might notice things that you've not noticed before. Like, take the time to like enjoy your food, enjoy the cocktail you're being served, like maybe watch what's on the TV. And like, I think that there's just something like, slowly as you start doing it, stop using your phone as your crutch as much. Because there's a lot of life that you're missing if your head's always down into your socials or into scrolling or whatever it is that you're doing on your phone. So I would say that that's my biggest piece of advice. If you're looking to start getting into doing things alone and it's something that scares you, start small. Start with going out to eat alone. Go to the bar. It's a way easier thing to do. Eventually, you can graduate to sitting at a table once you feel more comfortable, if that's your jam. Honestly, I love sitting at a bar. Even when I'm going with a person, I love sitting at a bar. But I have also sat at a table by myself, and it's no longer weird. I went on vacation and I booked myself a reservation at this really nice restaurant. So yeah, I was in like a 5-star restaurant dining by myself, and it was fucking fantastic. And then you can start branching out into other things, right? Like, and then eventually going to concerts alone and traveling alone and those kind of things. So, but yeah, that is something that I think is the biggest flex, is to be able to do things alone and to be comfortable with your aloneness. So all that to say is that I don't think if I hadn't taught myself the importance of that, and I don't think if I wouldn't have taken this time to really, again, learn myself and experience the world in this mindset, and to have, gone through therapy and just, I think, doing some of the studying and the reading that I've done, I think that I've been very intentional with how I've spent my time to a certain degree in these last 7 years. Like, I noticed, like, okay, this is what I want for my life, or these are the things that I've struggled with that I want to change. And I've actively worked on doing those things. So all that to say is that, yeah, in putting yourself out there, I think, in answering that question of like, isn't it scary or not, like the hate comments, it's like, I'm still in control though, right? Like, if somebody is going to just start being completely hateful on my social media, like to me in the comments or whatever that is, one, I can block them, and then they don't have access to me or anything that I put out ever again. So I have control of that. And I also have control of turning the comments off. If the comments get too nasty, or I'm just like, I don't want to read this shit, or I want to post without somebody giving me their 2 cents on what I look like or what I said or anything like that, like, I can just turn the comments off. And my social media is like, it's for others, but it's like, it's also mostly for me. And we all, to a certain degree, have free will. And if you don't like what I have to say, then you can move on. And if you can't be nice about it, I'm in control of not allowing you to engage with my content anymore. So it's like, I just don't think that I would have had that mindset if like 6-7 years ago, even 5 years ago. And I don't think that I was prepared to put myself out there, because I think that there's always been this part of me that has felt a bit of a calling to this industry. I mean, I was in, dance and what I call show business, did like some Broadway stuff and some commercial acting and things like that whenever I was growing up. So there was always this aspiration to be famous or be in the entertainment industry to some degree. And I got really burned out. And then what I noticed whenever I moved to New York City is that I almost like completely shut down, and I like became almost incapable of like showing up to my craft in that way of like actually pursuing it. But like in looking back on it and seeing how like where I was mentally at that time in my life too, like I just don't think I had the bandwidth and the wherewithal to handle the hard stuff that came along with it, the criticism that came along with it, in going to auditions, especially when I was in New York City, and just like some of the things that they would say or the reasons you would get cut. And it's like you would go stand in a room for 3 hours and never even get to dance, and they are cutting you because of, your hairstyle, or your legs are too thick, or you're not tall enough, or you're like, just whatever it is, you don't have defined enough abs, or it could literally be like the weirdest thing. And they're just like, nope. So it has nothing to do sometimes, and a lot of times at all, with your talent, and everything to do with like your physical appearance. And I needed to get away from that, and I needed to heal from that, and I needed to become a stronger person. But now that I feel like I'm in this place, like, again, I'm still a human being. It's not that hurtful things aren't hurtful, but I'm just able to brush it off in a different way, and to put myself out there in a way that's like, yeah, it may feel cringy for you, or it may seem cringy at first, but like I have a goal here, and like I don't care, and like it's gonna come along with the territory, and I welcome it. And I think that sometimes it can create some like good conversation and bring some positive light into, like these people on the internet that you idolize, or these celebrities that you idolize. Like they're just people, like they're just humans. They have their own upbringing. They have their own lived experience. They have their own biases. They have their own like humanity. They have their own everything. And you're not always going to agree with them, but it doesn't mean that just because you don't agree with something, or just because something is different, doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make you better and them worse. So I think that I have armed myself to a certain degree of accepting that this is going to come along with the territory of where I'm trying to go with this, and understanding that like it can be a catalyst for a great conversation. Okay, well, I clearly was an eager little beaver and just fucking talked your ear off for I don't even know how long, because I've been so silenced for the last several weeks. I thought I'd never come back. I'm just kidding. But I'm glad to be back with you. So thanks for tuning in again. Like I said, now that I have things, I'm hoping to be up and running on a little bit more. I'm still going to do the bi-weekly, but eventually I'm hoping that I'm going to get into a little bit of vlogging and just like some extra specials and things like that. And again, stay tuned, because I do plan to have guests on in the very near future, and I have some fun, exciting new question segments that I want to introduce, just to kind of test them out. Because here on the OVER Sharra podcast, we're gonna overshare, and we're gonna overcare, and we're gonna love it. All right, y'all. Well, again, thanks so much for tuning in and listening, or watching, whichever you're doing currently right now. You can subscribe to listen to my podcast on Spotify. Now that I'm up and running on my MacBook Pro, I'm hoping to also launch it on Apple Music / Apple Podcasts here shortly. So I will let you know on my socials, or here when that is live. But yeah, you can watch this on YouTube at the OVER Sharra Podcast. You can listen to this at the OVER Sharra Podcast on Spotify. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the episode or to the channel on Spotify and on YouTube. And please follow me on social media. I would love to interact with you. I would love for you to ask questions that you want me to ask on the pod, or answer any questions that you want to ask me. Whatever it is, I want to engage with you. Okay, so follow me on social media. TikTok at Sharra Coley. That's SharraColey. I'm on Instagram. Same thing. Sharra Coley. SharraColey. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you all in like 2 Thursdays. Okay. Bye now. Meow.